Hi guys, this is my lecture on if statements. Now, I'm going to play some videos and I'm going to be commenting on them as they go along. And as well as talking to you about what an if statement does, a conditional. Now, you've already encountered conditionals in my talks when we talk about this truth table symbol. Where is it there? You see the diamond symbol. We use that to express conditionals. Now, in computer languages, we use if statements for the same thing. So, I'm going to start by bringing on Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft, and a really cool guy, and we're going to talk, and I'm going to play his video on this.
People make decisions every day. For example, before you go outside, you kind of have an if statement that says, if it's raining,
Let me get out of the way,
get my
Bill.
jacket. And computers are amazing once you decide those kinds of statements, that they can reliably execute those things at unbelievable speed. And so a computer program really is a little bit of math and some if statements where the decision gets made.
So a computer program is, like he said, a little bit of math and if statements. This is different. This is where computers differ from, say, pocket calculators, where things are all just arithmetic and no decisions. The ability to respond to the world and make decisions is what makes computer programs that big advance over just mechanically doing stuff without really taking input in.
So in this puzzle, the if block helps the zombie make a decision. Right. It checks something. For example, let's use the block that says, if there's a path to the left, and put a turn left command inside it. So we're telling the zombie to check its surroundings, see if there's that path on the left, and if so, make that turn. And then we use the move forward block inside this repeat to get it to keep moving forward as long as it just wants to go straight. Then when there's the turn, the if block will tell it to make this turn to the left. And you can see if we do that, if we're taking the turns to the left and otherwise moving forward, we'll achieve our goal. So it's an example of using an if statement, which is really a fundamental concept in computer programming. One of the first things I learned was how to write a program to play tic-tac-toe. And so I had if statements to say, okay, if the other person is about to win, go ahead and block that spot. So have fun learning how to use if statements. It's a key concept.
So that is Bill Gates talking about if statements. Now, we'll switch back to this. So, it allows a computer to check a condition, decide which statement to evaluate. So the simplest kind of if statement says, do we evaluate this statement or not? Now, if statements are based on relational operators. We have two values, and in here is what we call a relational operator. Right now, I represent that with a question mark, but question mark won't work. In the languages we're going to use, we have these 6 operators. Now, let me play a quick video on how these relational operators work. Now in the video, they call them, I think, conditionals. And they're going to be a little different than the relational operators in our language, but it's still a very useful little thing. So I'm going to click on this guy. Come on, turn on. Boolean expressions is what they call them.
My name is Felicia Williams, and I work at Facebook in augmented reality and virtual reality. Augmented reality is going to really change the way that we think about using computers, and it's a really fun place to be right now.
Look at her having fun.
Whether you're making an animation, an app, or a game, it's often necessary for your computer program to test a condition to see if it's true or false. To do this, we use a Boolean expression, an expression that can only evaluate to either true or false. This is similar to asking the computer a yes or no question. Let's look at 3 types of expression that we can make with comparison operators. 2 equal signs compares the values in each box.
So, we, in Visual Basic, don't use 2 equal signs, we use a single equal sign. That's the main difference. Everything else, you will pay attention to her because she's saying the right stuff now. Let me get my face out of the way of this. That's safe. Okay.
And asks, are these 2 values equal to one another? The greater than sign compares 2 values and asks if the value on the left is greater than the value on the right. And finally, the less than sign compares the 2 values and asks if the value on the left is less than the value on the right. For each comparison, we will get either a true or false answer. For example, when playing a game, you may get a bonus when you reach a specific score, say 100. To know when to give the bonus, the computer will use a Boolean expression that asks, is the value stored in the variable score equal to 100? If the expression evaluates to true, then you will get a bonus. If it evaluates to false, nothing happens. We can use another comparison operator to make our game even more accurate. In this example, the bonus is only given if the player's score is exactly 100. But if the player passes 100, they should still get the bonus, right? To do this, we'll use the Boolean expression that asks, is the user score greater than 99? If this is true, then the player gets a bonus. By using Boolean expressions to ask true, false questions, you can make your animations, apps, and games even more dynamic and interactive for your users.
Right. Go from there. Okay, so now what we're going to do, so our relational operators in Visual Basic are less than, greater than, you saw those in the film, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and single equals, and this is a not equals in Visual Basic. Now, so we use these in if statements here, between the if and the then. Between the if and the then here. Between the if and the then. Now, this video will tell us how we can use those in if statements. Using, once again, they'll be using double equals, but I don't think she actually does that.
Our daily lives are filled with decisions, big and small. Even simple choices like what to wear usually are the result of complex considerations. What's the weather going to be like? What will you be doing today? Do you feel like making an impression or keeping it casual? But the world around us is constantly changing, so we want to adapt the choices we make to match the changing conditions. What's true for humans is also true for computer programs. We don't want our programs to always run in the same way. They should respond to changing conditions. In the last video, we learned how to use Boolean expressions to establish whether something is true or false. We can now add something called a conditional statement to help guide the computer's decisions based on that information. The simplest conditional statement is an if statement. It says that if something is true, the computer should run a specific block of code. Let's say
so we don't put parentheses around our conditions like she does.
that you want to create a program that displays whether or not you are old enough to see a PG-13 movie. So the question we want the computer to evaluate is, if age is greater than or equal to 13. The question, or Boolean expression, goes next to the if. The block of code we want to run only.
And also, we end our ifs with end if, not with these. So a lot of this stuff is because they're using a slightly different language than we do. But the basic ideas, I think, still apply. So we'll keep going.
Only if the condition is true goes inside the if statement. So in our example, whenever the expression age greater than or equal to 13 is true, the program will write to the screen that you are old enough to see a PG-13 movie. Of course, some people will not be old enough. In these kinds of situations, we will want our programs to do something else when the condition is false. In order to do this, we will want to expand our if statements to include an else statement. The commands contained in this else statement only run if the Boolean condition in the if statement is false. You can add an else statement by either dragging out the if-else block or by clicking the plus symbol in the bottom right corner of the if block.
Okay, so going back, so here, so an if statement works like this. Like if it says, if weather equals raining. So what we do is we start with one of these. So if we flowchart this out, we start with one of these guys. We always start with one of those guys. And we go down, and we check, and we make a decision box where we ask, good. And it's a single equals, okay. So remember, weather is a temporary value. Okay, remember that whenever we have variables in Visual Basic, like up here, the number of 10s, they can take on, or the number of 5s, they can take on multiple values, and they might change over time. So right now it's asking, at this point, is weather equal to raining? And if, I'll be that way, okay, make that a little bigger, and move this whole thing over here, and then that is going to be in a diamond. Come on, make a diamond. Oh, be good. 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 There. So we can make a diamond like this. Oops. Stop moving. Alright. There. Now, if weather, so there's going to be one possibility will be yes. Right here. We'll make a yes line. Alright. So I'm going to draw a line. And that will be, if the weather is raining, alright, first I'll finish off that little, make an arrow out of that, and then we're going to put ring umbrella. And this is an action, so it goes into a action block. So that's supposed to be a square. Okay, so the other possibility is no, but whether, so the idea is if it's no, in the no case, give me a line again, give me my ink again. In the no case, or in the yes case, we end up by doing, okay, we go to the same place. So in this part, which is, this part is no. That was yes, this is no. So in yes, we bring the umbrella. If no, we do nothing. And then we end the if. So this part is the end of the if. Now, right over here, we have a if statement with an else, like they described at the end of that video. So in the else part, we do two things, okay? So either if the temp is less than 70, we bring a jacket, but in the else case, we wear short sleeves. So in this case, if temp is 65, we wear a jacket, but if it's 70 or 80, it's short sleeves. And obviously, I don't know how to spell sleeves. Jeez. Okay, now, so that generates an, so to make that guy, let's do that in red. Okay, so we'll do that in red, and we'll start with one of these, and we'll go down, and we go once again to, actually, this comes from up here. All right, so we're going to go and do our decision about temp is less than 70. All right, and this is going to do a decision on that. We'll make a decision based on is temp, and if temp is less than 70, so we're going to have a line now, and we're going to do something under each of these lines. Okay, under the yes line, come on, give me, okay, let's see, what are you doing? Am I right? Okay. So this is going to have a, oops, stop it, a yes line, and a, I'll make that the no line over here. I'll keep the no to the left here, the no line, and the yes line. And in the no line, if the temperature is not less than 70, we wear short sleeves. This time I'll say the right. And in the yes part, we'll bring a jacket. And I'll put in the appropriate flowchart stuff for that right now. This is processing, so it's a rectangle. And here's a rectangle for a bring jacket. But in both cases, that's what we do. So that will terminate this guy. Yeah. So that handles simple statements. So